Right, hello, third grade. Yesterday we talked about using adjectives to compare, but today we're just going to work on spelling adjectives that compare. So a lot of this is just going to be a review from yesterday and just applying that we can type the words ourselves. So let's go over just yesterday. I remember when we were talking about comparative adjectives, it was just comparing two things and it ended in ER. So you can think of how when I'm comparing two things, it only has an ending of two letters, ER. Now when I'm using my superlative adjective, now that's comparing more than two people, places, or things, then it ends in EST. So if I'm talking about more than two things, I have an ending of 3. So we're going to go over some base words, and then the comparative, and then the superlative. So over here, these will be our base words. These will be our comparative. Remember, our comparative is two things. And then our superlative is going to be plus two things. So more than two people, places, or things. So this is how last week or 2 weeks ago we worked on when we are trying to make something plural, we drop the Y and add the I. So that's going to be the same for our superlative and comparative adjectives. So when I have easy, if I want to compare it to two things, math homework was easier than language arts homework. I'm just talking about those two subjects. I drop the Y, add an I, and have an ER. But if I want to talk, I would say the math homework was easiest out of all the subjects. Now I'm talking about every subject in school, and we have 5 a day. So then I'm comparing it to more than two things. So same with happier. I have my HAPPY, that's how I spell happy. And then if I want to compare it, and remember I add my ER, I'm going to drop my Y, add an I, and add ER. So we're kind of taking what we learned a few weeks ago and adding it here. Same with my superlative. Now I know that I add EST to my superlatives, but I also have to drop that Y, add an I, and then EST. If it helps, you can write down on your paper and your notes from yesterday. So I just added an ER and an EST up here just to remember that when I'm comparing two things, it is ER. When I'm comparing two or more than two things, not two or more than two things, EST. So when I have tall, I go taller if I'm comparing two things. But if I said I'm the tallest in the room, I'm comparing myself to everyone else. That's more than two, so I add EST. Same with strong. So that's my base word. But if I want to say I'm stronger than him, I'm just talking about me and him, so I'd add my ER. But if I said I'm the strongest person in the room, I'm comparing myself to everyone else. So I'd want to add my EST because that's more than two. All right, same with long. So if I'm comparing that dog has longer hair than my dog, I'm just talking about two dogs. So again, ER. But if I said that dog has the longest hair, fur, coat than any dog here, I'm talking about more than two. So I'd have to add my EST. And then we have short, shorter, and shortest. So now let's do some examples together. So remember, we are practicing spelling adjectives that compare. So the first thing you want to do is read the instructions. Complete the sentence with the correct comparative or superlative adjective. The girl's necklace was dearer to her than her ring. So now we're comparing the necklace and the ring. So if I look back at my notes, I know that two things means I just add ER. Dearer. The girl's, and then after I press submit, I'm going to read it to see if it makes sense. The girl's necklace was dearer to her than her ring. There we go. All right, so now let's focus on this one. That goldfish is the quick fish in the whole tank. So we're talking about the cold fish, and we're comparing it to every fish in the tank. So that is more than two. So I know if I'm doing more than two, I add my EST. So I'm going to type it. And make sure to double check because all the letters should be the same except the ending. So it should go Q, Q, U, I, C, K. So take your time with your spelling. So that goldfish is the quickest fish in the whole tank. So I read it after I typed it in, and I think it sounds pretty good. So I'm going to submit. All right, so now this is the last one we're going to go through. The chocolate chip cookies were the sweet cookies in the shop. So we're talking about these chocolate chip cookies compared to every other cookie in the shop. And it shows that that's more than 2, right? So I know I have to add EST, but if I'm typing too fast and I don't add it, but look, I'm missing a letter, so make sure to go back, because if I submit it like this, it goes incorrect. So make sure you take your time typing everything out. And that is it for today. So go on to your IXL Teacher Suggested, and you will see spell adjectives that compare, and that is our homework for today. All right, thank you, and have a good day.